All right, so take a deep breath. Where do we go from here?
Well, I think that, as Adam Schiff mentioned in your previous segment, we need to see the full report. I think especially because Special Counsel Mueller said he could not exonerate the president with respect to this particular issue, we need to see the report. The second reaction I have is that why are they holding this report back? Obviously, it needs to be scrubbed for sensitive information, but what's in there that they don't want us to see? And then the third and last conclusion I have is that what we have in terms of our scope before the Intelligence Committee is far broader than what Special Counsel Mueller faced, namely that we have to look at the counterintelligence issues and make sure that nothing like what happened in 2016 happens again.
And so, Congressman, how, if any, does this change the scope, the pace, the focus of investigations that you have ongoing?
Well, I think it definitely puts the emphasis on the counterintelligence issues as well as the obstruction of justice issues. With regard to counterintelligence, this week we're having Felix Sater come in and testify in an open setting before the Intelligence Committee with regard to Trump Tower, Russia, and whether anybody affiliated with Donald Trump or himself may have been compromised in the process. These are very important issues that concern our national security.
And so when you talk to folks back home, Congressman, how much do they tell you, you know what, we're sort of tired of all these investigations. We want to move on with the business of the country. Are you getting any reaction? Are you getting any pushback to sort of continuing down this road?
No. In fact, I had, I think, 25 town hall meetings in the last 2 years and public forums. And within the first 5 questions that I field, and this is a suburban district, it's not an urban blue district or a blue district by any means. We get questioned immediately about why are you not pursuing the investigation even more vigorously with regard to protecting our democracy from Russian interference and the interference of other foreign adversaries.
And Congressman, our understanding is that Attorney General Barr will be briefing the Senate Judiciary Committee coming up in just a few minutes. Do you expect that the Attorney General will brief the House as well? And would you push for that?
I hope he does, yes. I think that that's only appropriate in light of his letter, especially what he had to say with regard to obstruction of justice. I thought it was not the best prose I've read in a long time, and I think that he needs to explain why he did what he did with regard to basically deciding that there was no obstruction of justice and at the same time not providing any details and certainly not the report or the underlying findings. So I think that he will likely be called, but I think Special Counsel Mueller will likely be interviewed as well.
Safe to say, Congressman, that the Democratic caucus has not been completely unified on how to proceed in terms of this president, whether it be investigations, whether it be the politics of and the rhetoric, candidly. How do you ensure that the caucus stays unified at this point?
Well, I think the caucus has been unified on at least one point, which is that we have to continue with our oversight mission and the investigations that are ongoing with regard to the different issues, in some cases having nothing to do with this particular investigation, but having to do with offshoots of the Mueller investigation. And so I think that we are unified on that point at least.
And how much do you worry about, even beyond your district, people, essentially blaming the media, blaming you for continuing to sort of go somewhere where this has been settled? We saw the report. We need to move on to other issues.
Well, if we saw the report and we actually saw the underlying documents, that would be one thing. But the fact that we haven't seen the report and the fact that there's so many open questions means that our work isn't done. That being said, I agree with you. We also have to deliver on pocketbook priorities of the American people, and that's why, for instance, on the Oversight Committee, on which I also sit, we are pursuing prescription drug price reform. We are also investigating the possibility of asbestos-laced talcum powder, which millions of Americans use, and we have to keep them safe from cancer and so forth. So we have to continue to walk and chew gum at the same time, so to speak. And
to that exact point, how much do you worry about the hyper-partisanship that comes even in the wake of this report affecting and maybe limiting your ability to get things done like the things you just outlined?
Well, I'm always concerned about partisanship in Washington, D.C. But that being said, we have an oversight role. I know the president calls it harassment. But actually, the American people elected us to be in the majority in the past elections precisely to serve as a check and balance on the executive branch, while at the same time trying to deliver on those pocketbook priorities, such as trying to lower the cost of health care, cleaning up corruption in Washington, D.C., and also trying to make sure that people's pay actually rises and doesn't remain flat.